14. Photograph of a pilot operating an Air Force aircraft commanded by the Chinese People's Liberation Army Eastern Operational Command during combat readiness patrol and common sword exercises around Taiwan, at a location not described in this brochure. Summary: Chinese Army simulates attack on Taiwan. Taiwan watches the movements of China's rocket forces. U.S. says it is watching China's exercises closely. China began three-day exercises near Taiwan on Saturday. Taiwan President's U.S. visit angers China Taipei. April 9. The Chinese military has simulated a precision strike against Taiwan in the second day of its round-the-island exercises on Sunday, after the island's defense ministry reported that it conducted multiple Air Force sorties and is monitoring China's missile forces. Claiming to rule Taiwan as democratically as its own territory, China began three-day military exercises around island on Saturday, the day after Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen returned from a brief visit to United States. Chinese state television reported that combat readiness patrols and exercises continue around Taiwan. Under combined command of Theater Joint Operations Command Center, multiple troop types have conducted simulated joint precision strikes on key targets on island of Taiwan and surrounding sea areas and continue to maintain an aggressive stance around island, statement said. As of Sunday noon, Taiwan's defense ministry said it had detected 58 Chinese aircraft and 9 ships, including Su-30 fighter jets and H-6 around Taiwan. The ministry said it pays special attention to the People's Liberation Army's rocket force, which is responsible for China's land-based missile system. With regard to movements of Chinese Communists' rocket force, country's military also has a close grasp through joint intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance system, and air defense forces are on high alert, ministry said. It reiterated that Taiwanese forces will not escalate or cause conflict and will respond appropriately to China's exercises. Comfortable, safe U.S. audience exercises. Life in Taiwan continued normally, with no signs of panic or disruption from the Chinese exercises. Last August, after U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taipei, China held war games around Taiwan, including launching missiles into waters close to the island. This time he did not reveal similar exercises. While in Los Angeles last week, Tsai met with current Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, in an officially built vehicle on way back from Central America, despite Beijing's warnings against it. A spokesman for American Institute Taiwan, which serves as an embassy in absence of official diplomatic ties, said that U.S.'s channels of communication with China remain open and that U.S. has repeatedly called for restraint and no change status quo. Washington broke off diplomatic relations with Taipei in 1979 in favor of Beijing, but is bound by law to provide the island with the means to defend itself. China, which has never stopped using force to control island, says Taiwan is most important and sensitive issue in its relations with United States, and issue is often a source of tension. Beijing views Tsai as a separatist and has turned down his repeated calls for talks. Tsai says only the Taiwanese people can decide their future. Chinese warriors, battleships. China has stepped up its military crackdown on Taiwan over the past 3 years, flying regular missions around Taiwan, though not in its own land airspace or over the island. Taiwan's defense ministry said earlier on Sunday that it had detected 71 Chinese Air Force aircraft and 9 Navy ships around Taiwan in the past 24 hours. The ministry has released a map showing that about half of these aircraft, including Su-30s and J-11s, have crossed midline of the Taiwan Strait, which has served as an unofficial barrier between two sides for years. Chinese state media said the plane was armed with real weapons. Taiwanese Air Force jets typically also carry live weapons as they struggle to fend off Chinese attacks. Late on Saturday, Taiwan's Ocean Affairs Council, which administers the Coast Guard, posted on its YouTube channel that shows one of its ships outshining a Chinese warship, but gave no exact location. Please turn around and leave immediately. If you continue to move forward, we will take deportation measures, a Coast Guard officer radioed to the Chinese ship. Other footage showed Dihua, a Taiwanese warship accompanying Coast Guard ship in what the Coast Guard said was taking away with Chinese warship. Still, civilian flights around Taiwan continued as normal, including to Kinmen and Matsu, two groups of Taiwanese-controlled islands just off the coast of China. In August, civilian air traffic was disrupted after China declared effective no-fly zones in several blocks close to Taiwan, where it fired missiles.